and welcome to the Twins Mummy NI podcast, the show for parents handling the joys and challenges of twins, siblings and the beautiful chaos of family life. I'm your host, Carla, mum to twins and a baby, sharing real stories from the front lines of multiples motherhood. Each month, you'll hear real stories, practical tips, and expert advice to help us all feel less alone. You are very welcome to the Twins Mummy NI podcast. Today's episode is a very special one. I'm joined by Ellen, mum to twins and triplets, and together, between the two of us, we are navigating life with 8 little ones under the age of 3. In this episode, we draw back the curtain on what multiples motherhood really looks like for us here in Northern Ireland. From the challenges of potty training to the art of simply getting out the door with our multiples, we cover it all. We also have an honest conversation about the importance of looking after our mental health whilst navigating these early years of motherhood as well. So, put the kettle on, get cosy and make yourself at home. This is the Twins Mummy NI podcast. Hello, Ellen. It is such a pleasure to have you at the Twins Mummy NI podcast. You are very welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
You have one little baby here in your arms at the moment. Tell us, what's the crack in your house today? What's going on?
Well, at the moment we have one child sleeping. That's it. One of the boys is having a nap after a hard morning of potty training. One has had about a 30-minute nap and he's up roaming around somewhere, so he might appear. And then we've 3 little baby girls. I think there are 2 are in the living room with Daddy and one's here with me. Yeah.
So it's literally all go in your house. It's all go here as well. Just before I popped on to have a chat with you, I fed Laura and I tried to put the twins down for a little nap, but they're having absolutely none of it today. So it's lovely just to get a chance to step away for a little moment and have a chat with another mum of multiples who just gets it. Before we begin, tell us a little bit about yourself and your lovely family.
Well, there's me and my husband. We're both, well, he's 28, I'm 27. And a few years ago, we thought we'd have the bright idea and have some children. We were blessed with twin boys who were born in July 23 at 36 weeks. So I got to a great gestation with them. And then we decided last year we would have another bright idea and have another, well, we were hoping to have one, but we were blessed with triplets, and they came in October 25 at 33 weeks.
And what's their names?
So we have Finlay and Malachi, and then Mabel, Sadie and Lily.
Did you always imagine having a big family?
We kind of always thought maybe 2 or 3 kids. James is one of 6, that's my husband, and I'm one of 4, and we did love having big families, but I always said I always wanted to have a nice car, so 3 kids was the maximum to have a nice car. So that's went completely out the window. My car has sliding doors now.
How do you get out and about with everybody? Do you have 1 car, 2 cars? How do you get you all out the door?
Whenever we were having the twins, we had bought a 7-seater Jeep, which was great for the twins because the boot was big for the double pram and everything. And we have 2 dogs as well, so it was plenty of space. We didn't rush to change the car when we found out we were having triplets because we just couldn't afford. We had a big bill coming with having triplets, so we didn't want to rush. And then we managed with the 7-seater Jeep for a while, but we couldn't really fit the prams in well. But the boys, thankfully, are great walkers, so we haven't needed to bring a pram for them and a pram for the babies. So we managed, and then it just wasn't practical. So then James went on the hunt for either a van, which I was so against. I don't want to drive a van. But he found one of the cars with the sliding doors and everything, and it's actually great. It has a boot big enough to fit. I have an out and about, and I have a Up a Baby Vista of my doubles, and we actually the other day needed to bring all the prams, and we managed to fit everything in and all the kids, which was great. So it's actually grand. We were all able to all fit comfortably in. But don't know if we were to go away anywhere for a weekend, I don't know where we would put suitcases or anything.
Oh no, you'll have to get something, one of those roof racks at top.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you seem to be all organised anyway. That was one thing that was really keen. It's like, how do you get you out and about into different cars and things like that? How do you manage with all of them, with all of their different needs all the time? You're quite similar to our house. So like I have twin toddlers and then like a baby that's 4 months old, but obviously you've twin toddlers and triplet babies, essentially. Lots of different needs going on in both of our houses. How do you manage with all of that?
Well, thankfully, like the boys are actually very independent. Like they can take themselves off and play. And if I'm feeding the babies or if the babies need me, they're great and sitting and waiting, and which is brilliant. One of the boys is a little bit more on the sensitive type, and he likes a bit of a cuddle and that sort of thing. But he kind of knows now to have a bit of patience and wait. And then again, I'm blessed. The girls are very content babies. Touch wood. They're very settled. They'll eat, sleep, they'll lie and have a wee kick about in a play. And they're very only really cry when they're hungry or if they need their nappy changed, thankfully.
Isn't it lovely to have little babies that are so content? I know when Laura came along, her story is very much the same. She just ate and slept, and it was like, gosh, this baby's so content. It's such a different experience to the first time round. So long may it last. And I remember when the twins first came along, I thought, gosh, the newborn days were the most, they were really, really difficult. It's when the toddler years hit, I thought this is a whole different ballgame.
Yeah. Because I didn't mind the newborn days with the boys and with the girls. I actually didn't mind at all. And like I'm finding to a really hard age with all the big emotions, and now the
chaos.
It
is chaos. Like nothing prepares you for it at all.
No, not at all.
Was there ever a moment in your day, Ellen, where you or ever a moment that you thought to yourself, how am I going to do all of this, manage all of these 5 lovely children?
Oh, definitely. But then I ring my mum or my sister and they come and help me.
So you have lots of support there.
Oh, yeah. Like my mum and sister gave up. There are a couple of days there to come and help me potty train the boys because my husband couldn't get the days off work. So they were here helping.
It's lovely to have somebody who can just come in and even stick the kettle on, make a cup of tea, or even like a chat or something. It makes all the difference. You're very lucky. Yes, you mentioned there a couple of times about the potty training. Obviously, at the minute, I'm in the middle of the multiples mum group chat. Potty training is the first topic. How is the potty training going for you?
It's actually, when we were started, I kind of thought that Malachi would take to it quicker than Finley because he was showing a lot more of the ready signs. But then actually, Finley from the first day has had very little accidents. Like Wednesday, we did half a day of it and he had no accidents that day. And then Thursday, he only had, I think, 1 wet accident and he wanted to go and get a toy before Malachi got it. And that was, he was just busy. And then Malachi then Thursday afternoon something just clicked and he's had no wet accidents since. It's not like I don't mind. Like my mum works in childcare, she owns a day nursery, and she said a lot of kids end up that you have to pop a nappy back on them for a first wee while just to let them be able to go. And so we don't mind if we have to do that, we have to do that, and then that'll come with time. But even just not having to change nappies every few hours for wets and that. So,
but you're doing really well so far. And like, was there a set routine or anything you did, or like how did you actually tackle potty training itself?
A lot of people had recommended like setting a timer and that on your phone for like every 15-20 minutes. So we tried that, but we found that really overwhelming. So we did, and it actually got to the point where I think the boys were sick of me trailing them to the potty every 20 minutes. So we very quickly ditched the timer, and I just kept asking them and reminding them if you need to go to the potty and asking them. And then it's getting to the point where they're taking themselves now. And then we do a lot of stickers. Stickers. Oh, a lot of stickers, which is great. And then I had tried to just do stickers for wheeze and poos, but then we've kind of made poos a bit more enticing with sweets and marshmallows and that sort of thing to see if it will entice them. And we had the potties in the living room and not in the bathroom, so that when they're playing, that they're right there, so they don't have to go too far. Or if they're playing in the playroom, we bring the potties with us. Yeah. So that we're not having to leave what we're doing for them to go. And a couple of people had said that they did like bare bums for the first couple of days, and I just don't think I could cope with 2 boys weeing and pooing everywhere in my house. Totally. So we just went straight into pants. So we just nappies all straight into pants, and now nappies are only for nap time and overnight. So we just kind of dove in and went for it. We didn't really have any real strategy. We've just kind of
Yeah.
gone with the flow.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
just kind
worked
of listening
very
to see what the
well.
boys were responding well to. Yeah, I know they've
Absolutely.
done
It's
amazing. I honestly, they're fantastic.
Yeah, they've worked very well for you. Like, what are you
Yeah,
on day 3 at the minute? Like, that's incredible. You
yeah,
hear so many
I
stories
know.
out there, and things work, things don't work. It's a similar story in our house, similar to yours. And
Yeah,
I was dreading at the beginning. I said, of course, to do this, what's going to be like? But I'm glad it just tore on, and so far so
yeah,
good. I know it's not perfect, but we've definitely got there.
exactly.
But
Yeah.
I think the thing with the multiples is they notice even the cost difference with less nappies or
I
less.
know.
It's great. What's it like when you're out and about in public? First of all, how do you get all 5 of you, like all 5 of your children out the door? What's that like? It's chaos in our house, and I've only 3.
I thankfully I rarely do it by myself. Usually
Good
it's
for you.
either me and my mum and my sister, or me and my husband. I've had to get all 5 of us out once by myself, and it was non-stop from I opened my eyes until we got out the door. There was about 2 hours of
Sure.
just constant, but it's not like the boys are honestly such good children. Like they're really good at getting their shoes on themselves and getting like bits and pieces dressed themselves. Like they're very independent. So I'm able to like know that they can sort of get themselves half sorted while I get the
Hmm.
baby sorted. Because I'm not usually the kind of person to like pack bags the night before or anything. Maybe
Yeah.
I should, but I just kind of go with it. But getting us all out isn't too bad. I'm able to get the boys out and into their car seats in the car, and then the girls in their car seats in the house, and fling them in quickly, and then we're off.
Fair play to you.
Yeah.
Like, I really admire you. But at the minute, I've got it down to like 40 minutes to pack everybody up and changed and out the door. And it's like by the time I sit down in the car and get the key turned in the ignition, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
But I know whenever you get to the place, it's always worth it wherever you're
Yeah.
going, whether
Yeah.
it's getting out even for a walk or like even a wee soft play or something like that.
Yeah.
But fair play to you. I suppose I'd love to ask you, whenever you are out and about in public,
Mhm.
what's that experience like? A twin friend of mine very kindly loaned me her wagon. So I have the 2 twins in it, and then I have baby
Mhm.
Laura in a car seat all in it, and people just look at me as if, what
Mhm.
in the world? You get all the
Yeah.
looks, all the comments of the day. Do you get many comments in public when you're out with everybody?
Yeah. I would like with when I had just the boys, loads of people would
Yeah.
stop at you and make all the double trouble comments and
Yeah.
all the
Desperate.
stereotypes. And then now the girls, I still have them just in a double buggy because 2 of them fit in one carry cot together still.
Okay.
So not many people know that there's triplets in my pram.
Sure. Yeah.
And my mum and sister always laugh at me because they are such extroverts. And when I'm with them, they talk to everybody, tell everybody come and look at the triplets. Because there's only so
Not at
many
all.
times you can have the same conversation.
Of course. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I completely understand that. And maybe all you want to do is go to the shop, get a loaf of bread, a pint of milk, and come home. And that maybe takes
Yeah.
2 hours by the time you've
Oh,
answered
yeah.
everybody's questions.
I know, I know. But it's yeah.
Oh.
If I'm with my mum and sister, I know I'm going to be talking to everybody in the country.
Then your mum and your sister sound so much fun.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so lucky to have them. I notice myself whenever I am out, a lot of people say to me, "Oh, you're the mum with the twins," and I find that very strange at times. Do you ever encounter that much yourself, where you kind of feel that the world doesn't really see you as the person that you actually are? Rather, it's more about the person with the number of children that you're pushing in the pram now.
Yeah, whenever the girls were born, we had a lot of like media coverage about the
Yeah,
fact because it's a unique story. Like we've twins and triplets in 2.5
yeah.
years. So a lot of times people will be like, "Oh, I seen you. Were you the girl on the
Mhm.
news?" I'm like, "Yeah, that was me." Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I'm just the girl on the news with 5 kids.
That week you were on the news, and whenever I was we go to like touch groups every
Mhm.
week, like lots of different ones, and obviously they know me as the twin mum, and they'll say to me, "Did you see that mum in the news last night? Did you see that mum? She's got twins and triplets." I was like, "Yes, I know, she's remarkable. She is, fair play to her." So how did you find all of that media coverage at the beginning? Like, I know the girls certainly weren't too old at that stage.
It was okay at the start because we
Hmm.
were still in NICU, and we felt kind of like shielded and protected by the staff
Hmm.
there. They were very great in keeping
Good.
like, because a lot of the media were kind of going through the NICU staff. So
Yeah,
they were very much shielding us and only
good.
kind of bringing it to us when they felt like we were in a space that we could decide in that, which was really nice of them.
Yeah.
And the first kind of ones was just the Trust Zone media team. They were the first ones to kind of come, which was grand. It's obviously really nice for the trust in their staff that they've had this experience, and like for the NICU staff, and also to kind of just raise awareness on like prematurity and multiples, and then also the amazing work that the NICU staff do and like maternity as a whole. So we didn't mind that. And then it kind of, once that, they kind of must have sent out the news bulletin to the other media outlets. Then UTV contacted and they wanted to come in, which was still in NICU, thankfully. And again, they're wanting to come to chat to us went through the NICU staff as well. So they kind of shielded us a bit as well. And then, but once we kind of came home from NICU and we didn't have that sort of bubble around us, it was quite overwhelming. And a lot of people kind of want and expecting us just to say yes, which is really overwhelming. It kind of got to the point where my husband kind of just put his foot down. He was like, that's enough. It's done. We're not getting anything out of this. We're saying the same thing over again and again. And it actually was quite negative for my husband. We were reading some comments and there was quite a lot of negativity around him because a lot of the outlets actually edited him out of the interviews. Like he had answered and said things, edited him out, and then a lot of negative comments about that dad just sits there when he's not. He's a very hands-on dad. Like he goes to work full time in a very manual job, and then he comes home and doesn't get a break. So it was quite we kind of just were like, it wasn't of any benefit to us. Then we were saying the same thing over and over, and then I wasn't expecting any negativity from it. Like, it's such a beautiful story, and then there was, so we just were done with it.
That's enough. I completely understand that. Like, you've just had 3 babies. You have twins at home. You're coming home to start off your life again. Like, that is a lot in your little plate there, and I completely understand that. And comments
and I think they didn't realise that, like, yes, we have this lovely story, but I had just had a C-section a matter of days and weeks ago, and we had 3 very premature babies, and then we had our little boys to think about as well. Like, they don't want people coming in and out of their home.
Tell me about Dad. What's life like for him as well?
I think he finds it quite hard that he has to go to work every day, and I think he felt the same with the boys and that he missed out a bit, but thankfully he never missed any of the big milestones. He was always there for their first steps and their first words and everything, which was great. But I certainly couldn't be going to work every day now with my babies at home, so it must be hard. But he, bless him, he doesn't get a break at all. He's either at work or he's working here.
I have the same in our house. My husband, he's the one that goes out to work. I have a stay-at-home mum, just like yourself. And I feel so bad because, yes, it is busy for us, at home all the time. They are missing out on the little things that are happening. That wasn't our plan at all. I had planned to go back to work when the twins were 1, but the cost of childcare was just extortionate. And I thought, I need to be sensible here. So we did decide to stay at home. But I know when he comes home from work every day, the girls are so happy to see them. Their wee hands go up, like their wee faces light up. It's so special, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Like, the girls now are really smiley, so like he doesn't even have to work for a smile at all. They just see him and they just smile away. They're just so happy to see him, and the boys as well. When they come home, he comes home. They're so excited that he's home.
Really special.
It is,
everybody together. And I suppose at Christmas and things like that is special as well, just to have everybody together. And one thing I'd love to have a chat to you about is that big moment whenever we all found out that we were having our multiples. I'll never forget it. What was your experience like finding out both times that you were pregnant with multiples? Take us back. Where were you? And what was this moment like for you?
With the boys, we had actually... we had just got married at the end of October, and then in the middle of November found out we were pregnant. So it was all very busy time for us. And from the moment we found out we were pregnant with the boys, my husband had said how much he would love twins and twins and twins, and it's all he spoke about. And I the whole time was like, no, do not. No way. And then we had went for an early scan at what I thought I would be about 6 or 7 weeks, but I ended up being earlier, and we only seen 1 gestation sac. And then they had said, come back in 2 weeks and we'll see if it's progressed, if it's not. So we kind of had 2 weeks, a bit of limbo, not really knowing what was going on. There was just the 1 empty sac. So we went back 2 weeks later, and there was 2 beautiful, healthy babies with lovely heartbeats. So we were so shocked. Going from 1 empty sac to 2 full sacs was brilliant. And then I think my husband was in disbelief then, but he was so happy because he talked the whole time about wanting twins. And then whenever I was pregnant with the twins, my mum had actually found something I had written when I was a little girl, and it was like my plan for my life. I would get married, and then I would have twin boys, and then a year later I would have another baby. And it was just so funny that was all working out, that I had got married and I was having my twins.
Oh,
I
wow.
know.
Ellen, oh my goodness, how precious. What a find from your mum.
Yeah,
And it's a
I know.
reality. Oh, all those years later. Oh.
I know. So, and then with the girls, I had always thought I would have a smaller age gap than what I've had, but that was just with having twins,
Yeah.
and that it just a small age gap was just not not for us.
No,
Even though
no.
it is a small enough age gap, like it's just over
Yeah.
2 years between them all.
Yeah, that's not a lot,
We
definitely. Yeah.
no, but we had moved into a bigger house back out into the countryside. Like, we had both grown up in the countryside, and we knew we wanted to raise our kids in the countryside. So we had moved into a bigger house that and we had decided that now was the time to try for another baby, and we were just very hopeful. I think, like with any multiple parents, to maybe have that singleton and to have that singleton pregnancy experience and birth that you don't get with multiples. So I think there was, whenever we found out we were pregnant, we had tried for a few months, and then thankfully found out, which was great. And I was very sick from about 3 or 4 weeks pregnant, and my mum kept saying, there's more than one baby in there. There's definitely, it's either twins, it could be triplets. Like, you're so sick. And I was like, no, it's going to be one girl this time. That's why I'm so sick. Like, I was so much sicker than what I was with the boys.
It's tough.
And I was just delusional. I was like, it's a girl. You're always sicker with a girl. That's what it is. And so we had booked an early scan with the same early pregnancy clinic that we had went to with the boys. And we had booked it was a bank holiday. So my husband would be off work and able to come, but we turned up and they were closed. They had accidentally released slots and times on the bank holiday, but they were actually closed. And it was our only day. We had the boys minded. James was off work, and we were like, we need. So we were ringing around every private clinic in Belfast, Lisburn, everywhere. And we found, we had rang then Ultrasound NI in Bangor. We'd rang them. They were thankfully open, and they were like, come to us, we'll hopefully squeeze you in. And thankfully they did. Like, they were brilliant, because I was determined to get a scan that day because I couldn't wait any longer. So I was about 6.5 weeks pregnant, and we had went there and got the scan. And as soon as she had started the ultrasound, there was 2 sacs, and I was like, that's twins. And she was like, yeah, that was. So then she was like, right, it's twins. She's having twins again. And I was like, that's grand. We've done twins. We can do twins again. So then she was like, right, we'll get all our measurements, make sure everything's where it's supposed to be. So she started scanning, and we were just settling ourselves with the fact we were having another set of twins. And then she was like, there's another baby in that sack. And then we were like, in disbelief. But the poor girl, bless her, doing the scan, she had been having issues with her ultrasound machine showing like mirror images. But she'd had it replaced and had it all fixed, but just wasn't sure if that was happening. And I was like, if it's showing in mirror image, it would be showing that I'm having quads, but it's showing 3 an odd number. So I think we're having triplets. So she then she was like, right, we all just need to gather ourselves. So if you go out, get a breath of fresh air, I'm going to finish this and then come back, and I'll give you all your scan pictures and your report and everything. So we had then went out, but my mum and dad were on holiday in Spain, and I had tried ringing my mum because she knew we were going for the scan, but she had went out for a walk and didn't have her data on her phone, so I couldn't get through to her. So I had to ring my dad and tell my dad first. And he was like, what a moment. He was just like, I don't believe you. I'm not believing you.
I'm sure no,
we're having triplets. So then he had to tell mom, and she was in Spain, but I think she was chuffed that she was right, because she had been saying it's at least 2. There could be 3. But then, yes, we were having triplets. And so it was, there was no real history of twins or multiples in either of our families, but I must have, I'm a hyperovulator, obviously. But then we had a lovely little fluke of nature, and we have a set of identical twins in our triplets.
I remember when I found out we were having twins, we have lots of twins in our family, but I never thought that it would come to our door. care at all. But it's such a shock, you know. I like nothing prepares you for that moment, doesn't it? But like
No.
the midwife for me turned around the little monitor and was like, "There's 2 heartbeats here." I was like, "What?" So many emotions. I was like joy. I was like overwhelmed. I was happy, but it was just like, okay, what happens now? What happened? You know, there's so many things. It took me quite a few months just to process it. It's like, right, okay. I was like you as a child. I was like, oh, I'd love to have twins. And it's like, gosh, when it becomes a reality, it's like, whoa, okay, let's we'll try and manage this. But I suppose, like all things in life, you just find a way through, don't you? You know,
You do. You have no choice but to get on with it. Like you just
absolutely.
have to. Yeah.
And I
There's
think
no
us
point. Like I always say,
multiples mums are very good about that. This phrase here in Northern Ireland,
there's
just powering through. You know, you just tear on.
I know there's no point sitting and worrying and getting stressed about it all because that'll make it all 10 times worse. Like you just have to get on with it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great motto. You just tear on and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Well, we had a wee chat about pregnancy and birth. Recently, I uploaded an episode just about my experience of being pregnant with twins and then what that experience was like with a singleton, because lots of the listeners to the podcast asked me, was there any real difference between the two pregnancies? They were for me, certainly for me, they were 2 very different experiences. How was your pregnancy with the twins compared to the triplet pregnancy? Was there anything that surprised you, or was there any differences there?
Despite having worse morning sickness in the first trimester with the triplets, I overall think I had a better pregnancy with the triplets.
Really?
But I think that was because when I was pregnant with the boys, it was my first pregnancy.
Of course.
I had a lot of naivety about it because I'd never been through it before. I'd never done anything. But thankfully, my mum was a midwife, so I was able to go to her for a lot of any of my questions or advice. But and I also think with the triplets, I knew I had a very low threshold to be admitted to hospital, and I was determined to not be admitted to hospital because I had the boys at home.
Yeah. Wow.
So I think I dealt with a lot of stuff at home instead of kind of rushing to the maternity unit to get checked and that sort of thing. But thankfully, I didn't have any real times where I needed to go and get the babies checked or anything. We had, the first trimester with the girls was definitely rougher. We had I had a bleed at about 12 weeks and we went in and I ended up staying in hospital for a few nights then, where we really thought that I was losing a pregnancy, but thankfully we weren't. They were 3 little fighters, which they continue to prove to us that they are. But other than that, it was actually a really okay pregnancy. Like a lot of the pain and the back pain and the pelvic pain that comes to pregnancy, but I was able to manage that and cope with that at home without going in. And then but with the boys, I think any little twinge or anything, you're just worried because you've never been through it before, you don't know. So I would have went and got checked a lot more with them. So I did. But it wasn't too bad. I was surprised that overall I think I had a nicer pregnancy with the girls. And I think part of that was my continuity of care that I received because I was having triplets. I only ever seen the consultant that I was under for all of my scans and everything, which was great. It meant that like for growth and everything of the girls, it was the same person scanning me every 2 weeks. So it meant that we knew that it was going to be as accurate as it could be with those growth scans. That the fact just having the same person meant it was a bit more accurate. I only had to see one of his senior doctors in his team once or twice just because he was off, which was nice. And then it was also meant that it was the same team that I had met them all before with the boys. It was the same like multiples doctors and everything. So I kind of knew them already, which was nice.
That's nice. Were you in the Ulster or were you in the Royal? The Ulster?
In the Ulster, yeah.
For both experiences there, for both pregnancies?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
We were up in Antrim, and similar to yourself, actually, we were in the twin clinic with the girls, and I was exactly like you know, because it is your first time being pregnant, you are so naive, and you think, gosh, is everything okay? But I you know, that continuity of care there was invaluable to us. Isn't it great? They're such a fantastic team up at the twin clinic at the maternity unit in Antrim Area Hospital. You're so well looked after, you know, and you just felt so safe and so secure under their care. And I know exactly what you're on about, you know, those familiar people there, the consultants I worked with, Dr. Rebecca Bartley and Donald Chandranath, and they were incredible. Shona Hamilton was the consultant midwife at the time. She was phenomenal as well. But it's so lovely to have just a team there, that familiarity, friendly faces, totally get that.
Definitely, yeah.
Was there anything about your birth experiences that stood out for you or anything?
Yeah, so with the boys, I had really wanted to have a vaginal birth. So I was hoping to get them as close to term as possible. And thankfully, with them being DCDA twins, I was kind of let to go to that. But when I was throughout my pregnancy, I kept having deranged liver function tests with no real clear cause. I didn't have like itchy hands or anything. Didn't have anything, just the deranged LFTs, which now we kind of think was just the stress of pregnancy on my liver, because there's been no lasting effects after both pregnancies. It all went back very much to normal. Okay. We had at about, I want to say maybe 31 weeks, they were a bit worried that we were experiencing HELP syndrome, because I didn't have standard preeclampsia symptoms. I didn't have the cholecystitis of pregnancy. We have
somebody else joining you. Hello, who we got here? Hello, hello, Malachi. Hello, wee dote. Of the wee pet. Hello, wee darling. Of the wee pet. Oh, hello, Malachi.
But no, so we had that. So I had a week stay in hospital with the boys just to make sure that it wasn't. And it turned out it wasn't really anything. But then the consultant was kind of like, I don't really want you going back past 36 weeks, just because we don't actually know what is going on. And that was okay. I was kind of at the point where I was just done with being pregnant. So I was kind of like, So we scheduled an induction at 36 weeks, but the hospital was so busy, so they had wanted to delay me a day or two just because they had so many people in having their babies. There just wasn't space. But to delay me because I was a twin pregnancy, I had to go up and get checked to make sure that I was okay and the babies were okay. And when I went up to the hospital, I actually had quite high blood pressure. So they were like, no, we're just going to bring you in. So we were brought in the evening on a Tuesday, and I was 2 centimeters dilated, so didn't need any, like, the pessary or the balloon or anything. They were able to just break my waters for twin one. So they were, and he was head down and everything, so they were happy to try for the induction. And so we broke my waters, started the Pitocin, did everything, and I just was not for getting past 4 centimeters at all. So I laboured for, I think it was about 16 or 17 hours, and it just wasn't going anywhere. And then it was about 8 or 9 at night, and the doctor was like, we're not going anywhere. We can let you go another 4 hours and check you to see where you are, or we can just have a C-section now. And I was just so done. I had no energy left. I knew that if I had got to the point where I needed to push or anything, I wasn't going to have any energy at all. So I think I was just done. I was just, and I just wanted to meet my babies and get them here safely.
Of course. Yeah.
So we just went for a C-section then. And with that C-section, I honestly didn't realise half of the things that went on for a C-section. It wasn't until I went to have my section with the girls that I was a lot more aware of what was going on and everything. So with the boys, it was all quite quick, but not too quick. Like, I still felt like I was very much in control, and I still had a really nice experience at all. I'm just so grateful it was what I had to do to get my babies here safely, so I can never think badly of it. And all the staff were brilliant. So we brought round to have my C-section, and it was all very quick. The only thing I wasn't expecting was one of my babies then had to be brought to NICU, which we weren't prepared for at all. We were very naive. So we just didn't know what to expect, and we're the kind of people, we don't like to read other people's stories and read the negative stories, because we don't want to think about that. So that was a bit of a shock for us both, that one of our babies was taken away from us. Oh, I can't even.
I know. I know.
But it's what he needed, and he needed that support. And so, but we thankfully had Matthew stayed with me, so he did, and came to the ward, which was great. Yeah, and but with the girls, it was at my booking appointment, they had said a C-section this time, and I was like, yes, absolutely, another C-section. And one of the midwives, I'll always remember, she was like, you can think about it and see what way you'd like to deliver. And I was like,
No.
I'll be having another C-section. There's not a mission. Not a mission. I'll be fine to deliver 3 babies.
No, fair play. Even the thought of it, but no,
Yeah. But no, with the girl C-section, I was a lot more aware of what was going on and like how exposed I was. I wasn't aware of like I didn't really take into account how exposed I was during the boy C-section until I went round to have the girls.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. And with the girls C-section, I found it a lot more overwhelming due to the sheer amount of people in the room.
Yeah.
Which there was a lot of
shock,
by the time the 3 babies were delivered, that was 29 bodies in the theatre.
Wow.
Which
that's a lot.
Which the only thing that really annoyed me is when I was signing my consent forms, I had said I didn't want students in because I didn't want any unnecessary people in theatre. And the doctor was kind of like, what if we can confirm that it's just one student? I was like, if you can guarantee only one, that's fine. But whenever we went in, and it's something that really annoyed my husband as well, there was about 4 or 5 medical students, which was, and we just were like, it's not the time to kick a fuss up now. And then we had one midwifery student with us, but she had looked after me from she came on shift that morning.
Right, okay.
So she was brilliant. She will make a fantastic midwife. Oh, we've got another. This is Finlay now.
Finlay's joined the conversation. Hello, Finlay. Hello. How are you, darling? I like your nice red hat. Cars, is it?
Oh, Cars' biggest fans at the moment.
All right, we don't just woke up from their nap. Oh, it's great that your twins did took a nap in your house today. I can hear mine crowing in the background. That's a lot going on for you. Like, the idea of 29 people in that room, like that is. I think there was only 10 under me, and I felt it was like a Friday afternoon at Heathrow. That's triple that. Now, I understand everybody's there and they have a particular job to do, but that is a lot, to deal with. And you kind of, I always felt it was an idea of like you just have to surrender and just kind of let go and let the medical team and let them do what you have to do. It is a lot. But, I know that you had mentioned very briefly there about NICU, and obviously you feel a little bit emotional about that. So we'll not go into too much detail about that. It is such a big thing for many families of multiples, that NICU experience. I haven't been through that experience, so I have no idea what that's like. I have spoken to many families, particularly multiples families who have been through that NICU experience. And what I would really like to talk to you about, the Tiny Life charity. I know you were a fantastic support to you, and you speak so highly about them. Tell me about your involvement with Tiny Life.
So I really didn't know an awful lot about them at all when I was having the boys. My eldest niece, she was premature as well. So my sister-in-law had been kind of involved with them, but I didn't really ask her too many questions or find out much. I didn't really know what they did. And then when the boys were born, because they were born too early, and then Finlay here was in NICU, which... And obviously, I don't like thinking back on Finlay's NICU time because it wasn't one I was ready for, and he had a bit of a bumpy road. Thankfully, nothing too much was wrong, but he was thankfully fine. And I can never speak too highly of the staff in the NICU, and they're the doctors, the nurses, everybody. And the Ulster, the family support officer, is Jill, and she's more our kind of area where we live, and she is fantastic. So with the boys, I was able to go to like baby massage classes with Tiny Life, and then they do Tiny Time, which is kind of like a mums and tots group. They do one every month, and then they have so many other things on. Like the boys there got to go and see Santa at Stormont that they were running, which was a really nice experience. And then it's also just because Jill herself as well, she had twins and they were premature and needed NICU, so it was also great to have somebody that knew what was going on and could kind of understand your feelings and everything, and just somebody to talk to and vent to. And then so it was great that I kind of had known her and built a relationship with her through the boys. And then when it came to having the girls, I knew that I would see her in the hospital as well. She would be in the NICU a couple of the days, and that I would know that there would be a friendly face about and that support to lean on. Like this time with the girls, they have been fantastic through like giving us nappies. At Christmas we got a Tesco's voucher, like so many little things that I wasn't expecting at all, just to help us with those little things, like the cost of nappies and everything that they help us is fantastic. And like being able to bring the girls to like the little groups to get out, and it's really reassuring, like going to the Tiny Life groups. I know that nobody's going to be there if their child's sick or if they feel sick, because they're all parents that understand what it's like to have sick babies. So it's just really reassuring that way. And then it's nice to chat to other mums that have been through the same thing, and it's just nice to have other mums that understand that.
Absolutely.
But honestly, like Tiny Life, they're such an underappreciated charity. I think you don't know they're there until you need them, and you need the support for them, and they just need the recognition they deserve, because they're honestly phenomenal. They really are.
Here in Northern Ireland, certainly for multiples, in my experience, the support is limited and thin on the ground.
Yeah.
So it's wonderful to actually have a charity like Tiny Life who is there. You know, when I hear stories of people like yourself who have worked with them, you know, and the phenomenal work that they do, they're to be admired. And like, it's life-changing for families.
It really is,
these small things like that, but they really matter. So it would be nice to have more support here in Northern Ireland for multiples. But yeah, no, it's great to have charities like Tiny Life, you know, you're just incredible.
There really isn't a lot, because like the Twins Trust and everything don't run here anymore. And
that's right.
Like whilst Tiny Life isn't just for multiples, there is a lot of multiple mummies that end up needing their support, because you're more likely to have a baby born too early or that need the NICU stay or anything.
Absolutely. And as you say, there are like lots of children, particularly multiple children, you know, who are premature. Parents do worry about making those milestones. You know, it is such a huge worry for all of us in the multiples community here. So, no, definitely. So to have somebody that you can lean on, even to talk to, or to get out the door to baby classes like that, for that real support system is just, life-changing. A lot of our listeners are multiples mums and dads, and I know one thing they'll be thinking, what's it like in other people's homes managing day-to-day life with multiple children, twins, triplets? Can you walk us through a typical day in your house, or does that even exist anymore?
No, well, at the moment, the boys would still go to day nursery, basically full time still, because I was hoping kind of after Christmas to maybe start keeping them home a few days or a few afternoons, but I just wasn't ready with the girls. I just wasn't. And then the girls had RSV and bronchiolitis, so we're in hospital for a week there. So now we kind of dove in the deep end there with having the boys home from nursery to do the potty training. But I think usually a typical day for us, like a weekday, would be that my husband gets up with the boys and gets them ready, brings them to nursery on his way to work, and then I'm at home with the girls doing all the household stuff and feeds and changing and them. And then the boys would come home from nursery like two bulldozers. Yes.
I know all about it.
So they would usually get brought home by my mum or my sister, and then it's chaos then when they get home. It's dinner time, bath time, bedtime, and then the weekends are just a free-for-all, really. Like we just go with the flow. Whatever happens. Like the boys are still in jammies there today. I managed to get them showered, and then I just put them back in jammies because it's the easiest thing.
Absolutely.
In the weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're not alone there. Absolutely. You do what you have to do to get by, and that is it.
Exactly. Like the girls with being in NICU are actually very routine with their feeding schedule and everything. So when they came home, they would have fed every 4 hours and would have been very on the dot. But after having their week in hospital, they kind of now are, we don't know when they're going to need to bed next, sort of thing. But they're thankfully very content in that we can kind of sort of tell when one's starting to wake and stir that they're all going to maybe start and wake and stir and want fed. And they're really great babies. I am able to feed them all kind of at the same time using a twin pillow and a feeding pillow, which is great. But yeah, I don't think we have any one typical day.
I was going to ask you how the feeding of the triplets is going. I remember the early days with the twins. I remember having one on the bouncer and sort of like rocking the child with a foot, and then one on my arm, bottle feeding the other, and then switching over, or sometimes when I had the twin pillow with the two bottles to just feed them, and you think to yourself, how
Yeah.
in the world did you do it? But you just get on with it. This was normal for
You
us, I
just do it.
suppose.
Yeah.
You don't even think about it, but
Yeah, you just find
even
what works for you and you do it.
that's it. Your own wee system. And like to other
Yeah.
people, it's like, how do you do it? But you just, I don't know. I don't know
Mm.
if you ever experience that. It's just like, this is
No.
just normal for us. That's just
Yeah,
life.
exactly. Yeah.
Whenever I had Laura a couple of months ago, a lot of people asked me on Instagram, particularly mums who had had twins before, what it's like adding another baby into the mix. And there are a lot of mums out there who have multiples and would like to have another baby, but they're a wee bit worried about what that might
Yeah.
look like. They're actually worried if they have multiples again, which I certainly was. I was convinced we were going to have twins again. I remember when we had our first scan with Laura, our consultant had said there's one baby. I was like, are you sure now? Are you sure? Are you definitely sure there's only one there? I was so convinced it was twins, but I was delighted when wee Laura came along. But I'd love to ask you what it's like bringing newborns home to your twin toddlers.
When the girls were in hospital and when I was still in hospital, we kind of had the boys brought up to us. And the first time we brought them into NICU to see the girls were still in the incubators, which I think in hindsight, I shouldn't have done. It was too overwhelming for the boys. After a couple of minutes, they asked to leave, which was fine. We brought them back down to the ward then. But then whenever the girls were moved into their cots and like dressed in their baby clothes, we brought the boys back in then, and they were really happy to look at their sisters and talk to the babies and that sort of thing. And they were able to hold one of their sisters at that point as well, which was really nice for them. And then they were staying with my parents at the time whenever I was in hospital, and when the girls were kind of still in the queue, they were kind of between being home with my husband or at my mum and dad's house. But everybody would just keep chatting to them and showing them pictures of the babies and chatting to them and talking about what we would do with them whenever they came home and that sort of thing, and that we'd feed them and change their nappies and all that sort of thing, so that when the girls came home, the boys kind of knew kind of what to expect a little bit. We had about a week where Finley was a bit more clingy to me and his dad. It was such a big change in their little lives. Like, they had been so used to just having mummy and daddy to themselves.
Yeah.
So, but they adjusted really quickly, I have to say. Like, were really great, and that they loved holding their babies and helping us feed them and change their nappies. And I think it's really important to, like, if they asked to do that, we let them. Yeah. I would let them involved, because I think if we didn't let them, they could have kind of maybe had like a bit more of the bad behaviours and that sort of thing, because they wanted our attention, which we were very intentional in that if we were able to feed the babies and then put them down like in their Moses baskets or in their cot and then spend time with the boys and play with them, or if one of us needed to be the babies, the other one was with the boys, and kind of having that and trying to be intentional with them and making sure that they were still having some time that was just with them, or like that we would try and get us all loaded up and go to the park with the boys and just letting them have that time. I don't think there's any way to really prepare yourself for bringing a newborn home to toddlers, but they've adjusted really, really well, in that they'll come and they'll have a cuddle and help us feed, but then the boys are able to go off and play as well. And like, even times like when I was in hospital and away from the boys, or when the girls were in hospital there and we were me and my husband were both in hospital with the girls, the boys are able to with ease go to my parents. And my mum says it's because the boys feel so secure and they know that we are coming back and that the babies are coming back and that sort of thing. So we know the boys, they know that they're so well loved by us and that we are still there for them, which I didn't realise that we had managed to build that for them until my mum kind of said that to me, which was really nice to hear, that we have been able to build that life for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Ellen. It's so precious. I worried so much about this beforehand.
Yeah.
It was like, what will another baby mean? But like, I didn't know how it would go. We talked a lot to the girls beforehand.
Yeah.
It's like, Mommy has a baby in her tummy, and
Yeah.
Mommy's got to get the baby now. But I remember that first evening, it was the worst time too. It was late at night. It was coming up to
Oh,
nap
yeah.
time. I thought that's going to be a nightmare. Do you know what? It was grand. We brought Laura
Yeah.
in the wee car seat in at the back door, and they were so excited, and I was so
Yeah.
relieved, but I was so happy in their wee faces. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, how in the world is the dynamic going to change? But no, so far so good, similar to
Yeah.
yourself, but you worry about it, thank gosh, because you
You do.
don't
Yeah.
know, and sometimes I feel guilty. It's like, how am I going to find time to look after the baby and the girls as well?
Yeah.
But you just make the time. It's
Yeah.
so important. I think we're
Yeah.
lucky being mums of multiples, that obviously the twins, there was always two of them. They've never ever
Yeah.
had 100% mum or 100%
Yeah.
dad. So that's the way I kind of thought about it anyway. I
Definitely.
think,
Yeah.
yeah, it might have been different. There was only one and then twins. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But no, same in our house. But there are, like, because there's so many mums out there who would really love to have another baby and they're not sure.
Yeah.
Pregnancy and childbirth was something I was always afraid of. So it was a big thing for me. But my focus point, my North Star as such, was to have another little sibling, for the twins as
Yeah.
well. And that, I think, it makes
Yeah.
it so special. And it's nice that everybody's home now at your house and under the one roof.
Oh,
And
yeah.
just getting on with life, everyday
Yeah.
life now, which is nice. One thing I'd love to chat about very briefly is about sleep. What is bedtime like in your house? Like, it has been so up. See, lately in our house, the minute bedtimes are up the left. We've had coughs and
Yeah.
colds the past couple of weeks. It's that old time of the year, the winter season, and it's been
Mm-hmm.
really, really tough going now. Last night, the night before, it was settled back into routine again. What's the sleep situation like in your house? Is there ever a time that everybody's sleeping at the one time, all 5 children?
Yeah, well, thankfully the boys are really good with their bedtime routine in that.
Brilliant.
Well, we had a wee bit of really early wakes from them, and that so we
Okay.
actually got one of those like light alarms so that it changes colour when it's time to get up and when it's time to go to bed, and that's worked really well. And we've recently put the boys into toddler beds because they just kept climbing out of their cots. But it's actually, we had a few rough weeks of early wakes from the boys, and then with night feeds to the girls and everything, it was rough. But now, thankfully, the boys will go to bed anywhere from 6 till 8, really. We just kind of take their cue. We're not a firm bedtime kind of house. We just kind of take kids' lead with when they need to go to bed. And the boys are great. Like, when it's time to go to bed, they'll go up, they'll get their jammies on, and they'll get into bed. They'll want tucked in, and then we're able to just leave them and they'll go to sleep themselves, which is great. And then, touch wood, the girls are sleeping through the night at the moment. So we'll kind of do a last feed with the girls about 9 or 10, just whenever they're hungry, and then that could be them till about 6 in the morning.
That's
Thankfully.
incredible.
So when the boys get up, we have their light set to tell them they can get up from about 6:30. But this morning, God, they could have been awake from 5 a.m. up in that room, but they're happy to play away together, so they do, and they don't. Yeah, they play away up there, so they do. So they didn't bother us until the girls started to stir. We didn't know the boys were awake, and then we rolled over.
Malachi and Finlay are super. Like, they're just such
Oh, they
independent little men. There's another one joined. Is this Malachi?
Malachi again.
Malachi's back. Hello, Malachi. He joked. They're great wee men, Ella. They are. They're so independent and like brilliant. But that's testament to you, as well. To both of you. Like, it's incredible. I suppose one thing you were chatting there about bedtime as well. You see, when bedtime hits, like at the end of each day, is there anything that you like to do for yourself just to recharge? I know for me, like when the whole house is sleeping, I love nothing more just sit myself down with a wee cup of tea, chocolate biscuit, and watching a good series on telly. Is there anything that you enjoy doing? Or are you one of those people like me some nights as well, where you just roll into bed because you're so tired from the busy old day?
It could be either like if we're watching something good on Netflix, we'll maybe sit and watch an episode or two, or else we're just straight into bed and asleep as soon as we can.
There's been many a night like that. It's just been such a busy old day. Everybody's sleeping. I'm like, right, I'm for bed. At the minute, one of the things that's been on my mind a lot lately is like sharing my attention with everyone in the house. I know you talked a little bit about Malik and family, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be very honest with you. I find it hard at times. I feel really guilty about it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
during those moments when everybody just needs their mommy, maybe at the one
Yeah.
time as well. How do you deal with feelings, of guilt perhaps when one child needs more attention, maybe than the other, or they all need you at the one time? Like, how do you manage those wee situations as a mum of multiples?
I think it is hard, but it's also
Yeah,
like whenever if somebody's at that time need more attention from me, I think the
yeah,
main thing to remember is every one of them is going to have a moment where they're going to have more attention from me than the other. So I like to think
yeah.
that it does all balance out.
Hmm.
So it does, and over time, everybody does end up with the same kind of amount of attention. It's just maybe not all at the same time. So I think
Okay.
that really helps with kind of the feeling of guilt and that you're giving somebody more attention. But I know that there'll be another time where I'm giving somebody else more attention and that
Yeah.
sort of thing, and that it does all balance out then.
Yeah. Well,
So,
that's a nice way. So you don't kind of like
yeah,
this idea of mum guilt. No, I love that actually.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, because everybody
yeah,
is okay and everybody is going to be
yeah,
okay. I
yeah.
just worry sometimes, definitely as a mum. But, we've chatted a lot there about the children, but tell me about you, Ellen. How are
Mm.
you doing yourself?
I'm actually doing really well. Like,
Good,
um,
good.
yeah, it's so
Yeah,
strange. I never know what to say when somebody asks me about me because I'm so used
totally.
to just talking about the
And the
kids.
kids, oh no, it's so totally.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Is minding your mental health, especially during these
Mm.
early years of motherhood, is that important to you? Is there anything
Oh,
that you
yeah.
do just to take care of you as well?
Yeah, well, usually there's not a lot of time for me to start taking up any hobbies or anything right now. But
Same as
thankfully,
myself.
thankfully, usually, like, if I feel like I really need like a 5 minutes to myself, I know that
Yeah.
my husband can cope with the kids. Like, he's fine, and I can go and have that
Hmm.
kind of
Yeah.
breather moment and have that time. And I kind of, this postpartum time around with the girls, I was a lot more
Hmm.
aware of
Yeah.
looking after my mental health because I thankfully have never really had any struggles with my mental health in my life.
Hmm.
But then when I was about 10 days postpartum with the boys, I really
Hmm.
felt really on the cusp of postpartum depression. I was trying to
Okay.
learn how to breastfeed my one baby that I had with me,
Yeah.
and while trying
Hmm.
to pump for my baby that was still in NICU, and trying to manage being up at the hospital every day, but then coming home in the evenings and still only bringing one baby home, and then
Yeah.
feeding,
Wow.
doing night feeds for one baby and then pumping after. And then there was one night that we had fed Malky and I had went into the spare room to then try and pump for Finley, and I was
Hmm.
just crying the whole
Yeah.
time. And then my husband came in and he was like, "That's it, you have to stop pumping, this can't go on, like
Yeah.
it's not working, something needs to give." And I don't
Hmm.
think if he had the guts to kind of be able to say that to me, because I was in a very fragile state. I was about 7 or 8 days postpartum.
Hmm.
We still had a baby in hospital. I think he was quite brave to come and say that to me, but I'm
Oh
so glad
yeah.
that he did, because if he
Of
hadn't,
course.
I don't know what would have happened. I think I would have just kept on the downward spiral,
Going.
because it really was. And I did have a lot of guilt then about stopping
What
breastfeeding and
does
putting
he
the boys on formula,
Yeah.
because I had always wanted to be able to breastfeed them. And I kind of knew
Hmm.
that the best milk for them was breast milk. And I
Hmm.
did have a lot of guilt about moving them onto formula and everything at that time, but
Hmm.
it was what we needed to do for my mental health and for
Good for
our
you.
family.
Yeah.
And then
Good for you.
you wouldn't know now, like, if they were breastfed or formula fed, because they're
Hmm.
happy, healthy little boys. Like, you cannot tell the difference between how a baby is fed. Um, so then kind of this time around going into it, we kind of knew what to expect, and I had a lot
Hmm.
less pressure on myself to be able to pump or breastfeed the girls. But thankfully this time I was able to pump for the girls, and they were about 12 weeks when I stopped.
Hmm.
So they were 50-50 breast milk and formula fed until about 14 weeks.
Wow. Wow.
So they were, I think that's because I had taken a lot of the pressure out of it. I had kind of
Yeah.
said the only thing I knew I definitely wanted to do was be able to give them colostrum, because I knew that was the
Hmm.
best start for them to get that, because they were going to be so premature, just to try and give them any bit of goodness that I could.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then it just, as long as I felt comfortable still doing it and it was still working okay for our family, I kept. And then it just we got to a point where it just wasn't working for our family anymore. And then I was happy that I had done as much as I could.
Yeah.
And the girls are happy and healthy and love their formula now.
Yeah. Well, good for you,
Yeah.
Ellen, to be able to make a decision like that and, in
Yeah.
what was a really, really difficult old time for you,
Yeah.
the babies were just born. There was so
Mhm.
much going on and, I admire you. I really do. Like, it's not easy. And as you say, look at everybody now. They're thriving and happy
Exactly.
from
Yeah.
certainly what I could see. Very, very happy little children. So,
Mhm.
no, good on you because it is, we put so much pressure on ourselves to do all the things, Is there ever one thing just propped up my mind there whenever you were talking? Has there ever been a point in motherhood for you where you ever felt lonely, even though when you're never actually physically alone with all of the children at home?
Yeah. I think when the boys were babies, I really
Uh-huh.
struggled with that sort of like
Hmm.
cabin fever and feeling lonely at home during the day when the boys were at work or when James was at work. And that with the
Hmm.
boys, I rarely stayed in the house for a full day. I always either
Yeah, good for
drove out
you.
to have like a nosy around the shops or go for a walk or
Hmm.
something. And I think that was just, I think a lot of it was part of, it was such a huge change in our life. I had went to
Yeah.
going to work every day and chatting to people. And then I was at home with these two new babies by myself
Hmm.
and that sort of thing. And like, again, like my family were all close by, but my mum works full time and so does my sister.
Hmm.
So there was, they were working, so I didn't have them. Like this time my mum thankfully has been able to hand off a lot of her work to her manager
Good.
in her business. And that's so she's able to have more time off and know that her business is running really well while she's able to be here with me and the girls and help.
Brilliant.
But I think this time around, I enjoy staying at home. I think it's because the added
Yeah,
extra baby makes it a wee bit more tricky to get out of the house. But I also think
absolutely.
we're
Yeah.
in a bigger house this time. When I had the boys, we were in a semi-detached house. We only really had the one
Hmm.
living room downstairs to sit in during the day, and then you went up to bed in the bedroom that night. And like, it was a bit just small. Whereas at least like now we thankfully have a bigger kitchen with space for a sofa in it, and then we have our living room. So we've kind of a few different spaces to be in with the kids, and then the boys have a playroom. So it's a lot of our circumstances, which we're so grateful for, have helped this time around as well.
Great.
With those feelings of being like lonely in the house during the day, but
Hmm.
I know that if I need someone to come and I am having those feelings, like my mum and my sister are at the drop of a hat would come to me.
Great. Your mum and your
Yeah.
sister sound fantastic. We need to get
Oh,
your
they
mum on this
honestly,
podcast. They need to get your
I
mum on this
know.
podcast. She
Oh,
sounds like a riot.
I know.
She's
Like my
so much
granny was
fun.
here yesterday and she
Uh-huh.
said to me, "What would you do without your mum?" And I said I wouldn't have had any more
Oh,
kids after the boys if I didn't have my mum.
oh, isn't that lovely? I know. It's lovely to have that, just that special person there to help. If there was somebody out there listening and they are currently expecting twins or triplets and it's their first children, what would you say to them?
It's not as scary as you think it's going to be. I think the main thing is, it's honestly, I firmly believe that a baby feeds off your energy. So if you are an anxious person, your baby's going to feed off that. And then your baby's like, I know with the boys, definitely when I had days where I wasn't in the best of form, they weren't in good form then either. And then it was just like
Hmm.
a vicious circle then. I think it's important to know that it's okay to leave your baby in their cot or their Moses basket and go and have 5 minutes to yourself. Like your baby is safe and they are fine if you need that time. I think that was one thing I struggled with the boys and feeling that I needed to be with them
Hmm.
24/7 and not have those 5 minutes to yourself to have a breather. And I think as a first time mum, you feel a lot of guilt around that.
If your children, I know one of them sitting there, if your children listen to this podcast, say in
Mm.
about 20 years' time, what would you want them to know about you at this stage in their very young lives?
I think the most important thing is somebody had commented on one of our posts when the girls were born that only two of
Mhm.
our children were planned, which is
Okay.
a funny joke and it's a haha, and
Yeah.
we can see the funny side of that,
Yeah.
but that they are all very much wanted. And like, yes, we
Yeah.
maybe when we were trying to have kids, we ended up with twins, and you can say like, yes,
Hmm.
one was planned and one wasn't, and then the same with triplets. But I think it's important that if they listen to this, they know that they were all very much wanted for babies, and that,
And
you know, and
very, very much loved by an incredible
yeah.
mummy. There's no doubt about
Mm.
that. And daddy. If someone listening could hear only one message from your life with multiples, what would that be?
I think the kind of thing that I live by now is that it's a beautiful chaos, really, that's what it is. Like, that's just what you got to think of it. Like, yes, the days are crazy, but the days can be so long, but the years are so short. And like, people said to me, like, when I was pregnant with the boys, that the years fly by. And it wasn't until I realized that my boys are 2.5 and I have my newborns that in a blink of an eye, my newborns are going to be 2.5 again. And I think it's the most cliche, but to try and savor every moment and in the beautiful chaos that you'll find yourself in.
What a wonderful way to describe it. I couldn't agree more. Ellen, thank you so much for
Oh.
sharing your journey as a mum of multiples with us. It has been an absolute pleasure chatting with you today on the Twins Mummy NI podcast. Your story is just simply incredible. And I have no doubt many listeners out there will really appreciate listening to your story and all the wonderful advice that you gave us. You know, you're such a warm person. You're so welcoming. You're so easy to talk to, you know, and like we've been chatting here for over an hour now, and I know it's not easy getting away from an hour, and I really do appreciate your time. It was wonderful to talk to you. You know, like, you're a real inspiration. Thank you so much for your time. Will you do me a favour? Will you keep in touch with me and let us know how you're all getting on?
Lovely. Yeah, of course.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I can hear the babies crying for a feed. So.
Do. I keep in touch with you anyway, okay?
Perfect. Lovely. Thank you so
care.
much.
Bye. Well, that's it for this month's podcast episode. Thank you so much for keeping me company today. I'll be back next month with more stories, laughs and honest chats about life with multiples on the Twins Mummy NI podcast. In the meantime, take care and remember, there is always hope.